hawak natin ng beat sa atin ng unang galaw, sa atin ng direksyon, gaya ng sabi ng mga kabataan. As I said earlier, we have the exclusive power to impeach. She added at ang ibig sabihin ng exclusive ay malinaw. Sa Kamara nagsisimula ang impeachment process. Iginiit ni Batangas Representative Jerbil Wistro nitong Martes na ang kapulungan ng mga kinatawan ang mga may hawak ng nag-iisang otoridad sa konstitusyon para simulan ng mga paglilitis sa impeachment habang nagpapatuloy ang mga pagdinig sa mga reklamo laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte. Gaya ng sinabi ko kanina, we have the exclusive power to impeach. She added at ang ibig sabihin ng exclusive ay malinaw. Sa Kamara, nagsimula ang impeachment process. 69% of Filipinos support impeachment trial for VP Sara ayon sa survey. Majority o abot sa 69% ng mga Pilipino ang naniniwalang dapat umarap si Vice President Sara Duterte sa impeachment trial upang sagutin ang mga paratang laban sa kanya batay sa pinakabagong tugon ng Masa nationwide survey ng Okta Research. Samantala nasa 28% ng mga respondent naman ang di sang-ayon dito habang 3% ang undecided. Pinakamataas ang bahagdan ng suporta para sa impeachment trial sa Visayas. Sinundan ito ng National Capital Region, 81% at balance sa Luzon na mayroong 69%. Naitala naman sa Mindanao ang lowest level of support sa 61% at highest level ng opposition 38%. Isinagawa ang survey mula March 19. Sa pagpapatuloy ng impeachment hearing laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte, sinawalat ni Ramil Madriaga sa kanyang supplemental statement na hindi umano totoo ang ulat na inabot ng 11 days bago magamit ang 125 milyon na confidential funds ng Office of the Vice President noong 2022. Ayon kay Madriaga, personal niyang pinangasiwaan ang pag-disburse ng nasabing pondo at giniit na less than 24 hours lamang ito nagamit. Ang pahayag ay taliwasan na unang kumalat na impormasyon mula sa ulat na nagsasabing 11 araw bago tuluyang magastos ang pondo. Bahagi ang kanyang testimonya sa mga ebidensyang sinusuri sa kasalukuyang impeachment proceedings laban sa Vice Presidente. Ibinulgar din ng self-confessed na bagman umano ni Vice President Sara Duterte na si Ramil Madriaga na ang pangalawang pangulo, ang paborito ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte sa kanyang mga anak kumpara kina Davao City District Representative Paulo Duterte at City Mayor Baste Duterte. Ayon kay Madriaga, mas gusto ni Digong na humalili sa kanya sa politika si VP Sara kaysa sa dalawang lalaking anak. Tinawag din umano nitong baliw si Representative Pulong at Baste naman ay bakla. Ang assassination plot versus Marcos ang napag-usapan sa pagitan ni Rodrigo Duterte at mga retiradong general. Ayon pa kay Madriaga na humingi ng tulong sa akin ang asawa ni Sara Duterte dahil sa nasamsam ng mga magnetic lifter na puno ng shabu. Hinangkin din ni Madriaga na pinondohan ng boss ng Farmally ang kampanya ni Sara Duterte noong 2022. Nakatanggap ng pera sa ex-ombudsman Martires mula kay Rodrigo. Narito, panoorin natin ang buong detalye.
We can recognize first Attorney Terry Redon, Congressman Terry Redon, if he has other concerns about the affidavit. What's the pleasure of the Honorable Redon? Because it is on your motion, on your request that Mr. Madriaga is reading this affidavit. It causes him to cry a lot.
I think we have to let him finish the affidavit, the reading of the supplemental affidavit until the very end, Madam Chair. And he should be allowed to proceed as soon as he has composed himself. Madam Chair.
May I proceed, Madam Chair?
Are you ready?
Opo, Madam Chair.
Okay, you may proceed, Mr. Madriaga.
47, nevertheless, Sara proceeded to run as BBM's Vice President under the Unity ticket. I continued assisting her campaign for Vice President during campaign sorties. I served as advance party to municipalities, cities, provinces where Sara was scheduled to visit and campaign. In several of these campaign sorties, I personally joined Sara together with other members and volunteers of ISIP, which to us now refer to Inday Sara para sa ikalawang Pangulo. Photos of Sara and me in several campaign sorties are here to attach as Annex G to G-3. 48. During one of the activities of ISIP in Bataan, I got to know a group of farmers who were asking for assistance because of land grabbing incidents in their area. I tried assisting them and I discovered that the entity behind the land grabbing in First Bataan Maribeles Holdings Corporation. More than a year later, I informed Sarah about this concern and she told me to bring the group to one of her residences in Metro Manila located at Serendra Bonifacio Global City, Taguig City. I asked the group of farmers to wait outside of Serendra as I went to talk to Sarah. When I mentioned to Sarah the First Bataan Maribeles Holdings Corporation is the one involved in the land grabbing incidents, she told me that she cannot do anything and that she will no longer meet with the group of farmers. Through ISIP, I also came to know Attorney Reynold Monsayac, who likewise provided valuable support to ISIP. In recognition of his efforts, ISIP awarded him a certificate of recognition and appreciation at Nomu Bashu, Thomas Morato, Quezon City. Attorney Monsayac was later appointed as the spokesperson of the Office of the Vice President. A copy of the certificate of recognition and appreciation dated June 29, 2022 is hereto attached as Annex H. Number 51. The certification of recognition and appreciation was handed by Attorney Ryan to Attorney Monsayac at Nomu Bashu, Thomas Morato, Quezon City, where I was also present. A photo of Attorney Ryan handing the certification of recognition and appreciation to Attorney Monsayac is as Annex I. Election of Sarah as Vice President and OBP confidential funds. Number 52. After the election of Sarah as Vice President, she invited me to attend her inauguration at the San Pedro Square, Davao City on June 19, 2022. A photo of Sarah and me during her inauguration in Davao City is here to attach as Annex J. A photo of an email thanking me for my attendance during her inauguration in Davao City is here to attach as Annex J-1. Number 53. I was then tasked to provide security intelligence work through the formation of Vice Presidential Security and Protection Group. During this time, I introduced and recommended Colonel Dennis Nolasco, one of my best students in the Presidential Security Group, to assist this matter. Number 54. Colonel Nolasco then tapped the services of Colonel Raymond Dante Lachica to head the BPSPG. Afterwards, I worked with both Colonels Nolasco and Lachica from July 2022 to April 2023 for tactical transport services, security of Sarah and other VIPs, handing and conveying and highly confidential information, and the transportation of large amount of money to several persons as instructed by Sarah. Money deliveries under the instruction of Sarah. In the morning of December 20, 2022, Sarah called me and she said, "Sir Ram, please coordinate with Colonel Nolasco. Meron tayong deliver sa San Pablo, Laguna, sa night strip, at sa Ombudsman." Sarah added, "Bawi tayo sa kanila later." Later, I received a text message from her indicating the places of delivery, which include San Pablo, Laguna, night strip, Office of the Ombudsman, and the corresponding contact numbers. Number 56. Later that morning, Colonel Nolasco sent me a text message directing me to go to the DepEd Central Office in Pasig City, beside Ultra at around 1:30 p.m. for the transport. Transport is a shorthand for delivery or transportation of large sums of money between Colonel Nolasco and me upon the instruction of Sarah. After receiving the text message, I hurriedly prepared and went to the DepEd Central Office together with 4 other individuals: Richard Babagay, Arman Villanueva, a certain Chip, and a certain Ruel. Number 58. Richard and I were aboard my blue Toyota FJ Cruiser, while Arman, Ruel, Noel, and Chip came in Toyota Grandia with the sticker Inday Sara Champura Duterte attached to both sides of the van. Richard was driving my blue Toyota FJ Cruiser and Chip was driving the Toyota Grandia. A photo of the Toyota Grandia with the sticker Inday Sara Champura Duterte on both sides of the van is here to attach as Annex K. A photo of my blue FJ Cruiser is here to attach as Annex K-1, number 59. As we parked my Toyota FJ Cruiser near the main entrance of DepEd, Colonel Nolasco appeared from the main entrance and approached our vehicle. I alighted to the vehicle to meet Colonel Nolasco and we talked while we waited for the arrival of Colonel Lachica. He mentioned that they will also provide a red Mazda sedan, which will be used to deliver the money to the office of the Ombudsman. At around past 3 or 4 p.m., 2 government vehicles with red plates entered the DepEd compound and then Colonel Nolasco told me, ayan na, ayan na. Colonel Lachica appeared with a lady who I later learned to be Special Disbursement Officer Gina Acosta. Thereafter, 4 large dark bags were unloaded from the vehicles. 3 large dark bags and 1 lighter colored and relatively smaller bag. Colonel Nolasco told me that each bag contained around 30 million pesos to 35 million pesos. The 4 bags were brought to where Colonel Nolasco and I were standing, which was near my blue Toyota FJ. Afterwards, I signaled Arman and Richard to load the same to our vehicles. The two large dark bags were placed in the Toyota Grandia and 1 large dark bag and 1 lighter colored bag were placed in my blue FJ Cruiser. The bags loaded to the Toyota Grandia were to be delivered separately to San Pablo, Laguna, and Nomu, Bashu, Tomas Morato, Quezon City on the same day. The remaining bags, initially loaded to my blue FJ Cruiser, were immediately transferred to the red Mazda sedan prior to our departure from the DepEd compound and were to be delivered to the Ombudsman parking lot the following day. Then, the red Mazda sedan proceeded directly to my residence in Cainta, Rizal and was driven by Renoel. Before leaving DepEd Central Office, Colonel Nolasco told me to get my share from the said bags. And he and Colonel Lachica have already taken theirs. Hence, I took 1 million pesos for myself from the lighter colored bag loaded to the red Mazda sedan. That's when I verified that the contents of the bags were bundles of cash in 1,000 denominations and packed in stacks of 1 million pesos, each tightly sealed in transparent plastic. We, Blue Toyota FJ Cruiser and Toyota Grandia, left DepEd Central Office past 5 p.m. heading to San Pablo, Laguna. As we approached Laguna, I called the contact number provided by Sara, informing the designated recipient that we are on our way. However, I was directed to proceed to Cabuyao, Laguna instead. We arrived in Cabuyao, Laguna past 8 p.m. and were then instructed to proceed to an area inside the industrial park to meet individuals who were designated to receive the first bag for a politician in Laguna. As we approached the designated place, I can clearly see from our vantage point an SNR membership shopping establishment. Upon arrival, I immediately saw 3 persons standing in wait beside the dark sports utility vehicle. One of them proceeded to the Toyota Grandia and took one of the bags. We immediately left after the delivery of the first bag. 65. Thereafter, we proceeded to Nomu, Bashu, Tomas Morato, Quezon City, a comedy bar we call Strip, frequented by SSC Law alumni including Attorney Ryan and Attorney Monsaya. 66. I am quite familiar with Nomu Bashu because I had previously visited it several times in relation to my work with Sara and ISIP Pilipinas In fact, this is the same place where ISIP gave Attorney Monsayak a certification of recognition and appreciation. We arrived at Nomu Basho around 12 midnight. I went inside the establishment with Arman, who was carrying the second bag. I immediately saw Attorney Monsayak, who was at the same time, at the time, in the middle of the place together with a woman and several men. When he saw me, he stood up and signaled for us to go upstairs. We then proceeded to the stairs leading to the second floor. Arman walked ahead of me while I followed him. Before I got to the second floor, I saw a man who came out of the room and received the bag from Arman. After that, we proceeded to exit the premises, and as I was passing near the table of Attorney Monsayak, I looked at him and he nodded. And we completed the delivery to Nomu Basho. We stopped to eat around the area while eating. I told Arman and Richard to meet me at my house in Cainta, Rizal, later that day at 8 a.m. Number 70. At around 8 a.m. the same day, the team met in my residence at Cainta, Rizal before we traveled to the last location, OMB parking area. This time, however, we only used my blue Toyota FJ Cruiser and the red Mazda sedan, where the remaining two bags were previously placed. We left my residence at around 8:30 a.m. Richard was driving my blue Toyota FJ Cruiser, while Arman and another person, Noel, and he brought along were aboard the red Mazda sedan. '71. When we arrived, the guard gave a signal directing us to park in a specific area in the Ombudsman parking lot. We proceeded to the specific area and parked red Mazda sedan where the remaining two bags of money were placed. We left the keys on top of the left front of the wheel, which is our usual practice when delivering large amounts of money. 72. Previously and upon direct instructions of PRD, Sarah, I've also delivered money to Ombudsman Samuel Martires or Tony Ryan, which I usually place inside an open trunk of a designated car. Number 73. After completing the last delivery, we left the Ombudsman compound aboard my blue Toyota FJ Cruiser. A few years later, I read from several media reports that 125 million OBP confidential funds in 2022 were reportedly utilized in just 11 days. This is wrong because I personally disposed the money in less than 24 hours. Sarah attempt to visit me at Annex 2 BGMP Camp Bagong Diwa.
You can drink some water, Mr.
Yes.
Madriaga.
Yes,
Drink some water.
Thank you po, sir. Issue. May I proceed, Madam Chair po?
Feel free to start whenever you want.
Number 74. A few years later, I read from several media reports that the 125 million pesos OBP confidential funds in 2022 were reportedly utilized in just 11 days. This is wrong because I personally disposed the money in less than 24 hours. Sarah's attempt to visit me at Annex 2 BGMP Camp Bagong Diwa. Number 75. Sometime in October 2025, after I got arrested for alleged kidnapping, I was called by Jail Warden Jose Marie Sabiniano in his office. As I made my way to the office of Jail Warden Sabiniano, I was surprised to see Sarah through the metal railings of the passageway. She smiled and waved at me. Number 76. When I entered the office of the jail warden, Sabiniano, he asked me if I know Attorney Joyce. I replied, Joyce dapat, and jail warden Sabiniano handed me a phone. When I said hello, I recognized the voice of Sarah, and she asked me about my well-being and conditions inside the detention facility. She was also apologetic for failing to do something or assist in my ongoing criminal case. 77. Frankly, I felt bad and disappointed given that Attorney Harry Roque filed the case against me in retaliation after I tried to expose his land grabbing activities in Maribeles, Bataan, together with his Philippine offshore gaming operator partners. As I previously mentioned, I was merely trying to assist the farmers of the said area who were supposed to be awarded of their certificate of land ownership award by the Department of Agrarian Reform, but fell victim to Attorney Harry Roque's activities. Attorney Roque and his POGO partners wanted to convert the said place into a POGO hub after he facilitated the transfer of at least 60 land titles to First Bataan Maribeles holding corporations. In fact, Danny Corral, President and Chief Executive Officers of First Bataan Maribeles Holding Corporations, is also an incorporator of Lucky South 1999 Outsourcing Incorporated and Lucky South 1999 Corporation, which were involved in POGO operations in Pampanga. Number 80, more importantly, I felt betrayed that despite all my efforts to support Sarah, to the extent of even committing high-risk acts for her and her family, she did not lift a finger to stop Harry Roque, who is her known ally and supporter, from filing the unfounded kidnapping case against me. In witness hereof, I have here and to set my hand this April 2026, April 11, 2026 in Taguig City. Appliance signed will be all your, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Madriaga. Are you okay?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm okay.
You think you are in the best position now to give your testimony? Yes?
Yes, Madam Chair.
You want a house doctor to check on you first before we continue?
No,
You're
lang po.
okay?
I'm okay, Madam Chair.
Okay. Thank you. Are you ready for clarificatory questions on your affidavit?
Yes, Madam Chair.
All right. Thank you. Now we recognize again the Honorable Terry Ridon.
Madam Chair,
The Honorable Abante, is that a point of order?
no, it's just,
With the indulgence of Congressman
Yes.
Ridon, you may
Please.
proceed.
may I just be allowed to also ask after Congressman Riton some questions? As
After
I have
Congressman
mentioned
Riton.
that in my manifestation. Thank
Yes.
you, Mr. Chair.
Let's hear first the clarificatory questions from Congressman Ridon.
Bago ho natin napasukin yung mga tanong, balikan lang ho natin supplemental affidavit to just confirm the contents of the affidavit. So you confirm po all of the contents that you had read in this supplemental affidavit.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes po, Madam Chair.
You also confirm that this is your signature in that affidavit under above Ramil L. Madriaga Afayan.
Opo, Madam Chair.
You also confirmed that it was subscribed and sworn to on the 11th of April 2026 in Taguig City.
Opo, Madam Chair.
We are also reading for the record that the document was notarized by Jose Lorenzo Angeles III, Notary Public of Taguig City, Philippines, roll number 95960. We will proceed, Madam Chair, to the question. Ginong Madriaga, magandang umaga po.
Magandang umaga po.
Yung pong affidavit na binabanggit po ninyo, meron po kayong pirma dito, no?
Opo, Madam Chair.
So kayo po mismo yung pumirma dito sa affidavit po na ito.
Opo, Madam Chair.
Walang pumirma para sa inyo.
Opo, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Can we be specific, Congressman Ridon, because it appears that there are two affidavits already. The original consisting of 5 pages and the supplemental affidavit which was mentioned by the Honorable Abante.
Sige po, maglilinaw po tayo. So bukod po doon sa affidavit na pinirmahan na binigyan po ng kopya si Congresswoman De Lima, meron pa po ba kayong ibang mga dokumento o affidavit na pinirmahan, Ginoong Madriaga?
Opo, bukod po dun sa November 29 na affidavit, ay meron pa po akong supplemental na ginawa, sinumpaang salaysay na may petsang April 11, 2026.
So ito po yung supplemental affidavit, bagong affidavit po ito.
Opo, Madam Chair.
Meron po ba kayong kopya ng supplemental affidavit po na ito?
Opo, Madam Chair, nasa abogado ko po.
Madam Chair, kasi yung affidavit po ay nakalagay po sa records po ng komite. Ang supplemental affidavit po ay bagong affidavit, karagdagang affidavit ni Ginoong Madriaga. Tingin ko mahalaga po na mabasa sa harap po ng komite na ito yung kabuuan po ng supplemental affidavit para mag-form part ng records at syempre masumpaan din po na ni Ginoong Madriaga ang katotohanan po ng bagay na ito. Madam Chair.
So there is a request for Madriaga to read his supplemental affidavit. Do you have with you the copy?
Opo, Madam Chair.
Yes, if there are no objections from the members, then we give the floor to Madriaga to read his supplemental affidavit.
Madam Chair.
For the guidance of the members, we also direct the COMSEC, if it is possible, to flash in the screen the supplemental affidavit of the resource person as he read the same. Kindly provide as well copies of the supplemental affidavit to all the members. And flash the same in the screen as the resource person read the contents of the supplemental affidavit. You may proceed, Mr. Madriaga. Please read your supplemental affidavit.
Opo, salamat po, Madam Chair. Supplemental affidavit. I, Ramil L. Madriaga of legal age, Filipino and with address at care of Annex 2, BJMP Camp Bagong Diwa, Taguig City, after having been duly sworn in accordance with law, do hereby state, 1. I am currently a detainee at Camp Bagong Diwa, Taguig City, for charges of kidnapping, criminal case number RMNL-22-05157-CR and R-MNL-22-05158, pending before the Regional Trial Court, Branch 21, RTC Manila. 2. On November 29, 2025, I executed an affidavit which was subscribed and sworn to before Attorney Cynthia Viñas Pentonal on the same day. In my affidavit, I narrated my involvement with then President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, PRRD, his daughter Sara Duterte, Sara, other members of their family, and their close associates. More specifically, I provided a personal account of the various works I did for the aforementioned individuals, including campaign and organizing activities, intelligence gathering and sabotage, and transportation of large sums of money under the direct instructions of either PRD or SARA. 3. With my consent, my affidavit was submitted and referred to the Office of the Ombudsman through a letter dated December 15, 2025. 4. After I executed my affidavit, I learned that SARA denied any affiliation with me and that she has no personal or professional relationship with me. She added that she has never given me any instruction of any kind. 5. I received through my counsel a copy of complaint dated March 4, 2026, filed by Sara or BP Sara herself before the Office of the City Prosecutor, Taguig City, for perjury. In her complaint, BP Sara reiterated that she has no personal or professional relationship with me. In fact, prior to the dissemination of the Madriaga affidavit, BP Sara had no recollection of knowing, meeting, or interacting with me. 6. However, her denial of any affiliation with me is absolutely false. She lied under oath in her perjury complaint against me. Hence, I decided to execute a supplemental affidavit providing further details on the narration I made in my previous affidavit with additional accounts of other orders, tasks, or works given to me by either PRD or SARA, or BP SARA. Engagement activities with President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. 7. Prior to the 2016 national elections campaign, I was working for then Congressman Roylo Goles as one of his political officers specializing in intelligence gathering and sabotage operations. Congressman Goles decided to support the candidacy of PRRD. Hence, he introduced me and endorsed my services to PRRD during their meeting at the latter's residence in Taal Street, Bangkal, Davao City. Around the 2015 or early 2016, he mentioned to PRRD that I was previously under detention and that I later survived death row. Congressman Goles also added that I am his number one asset in the National Security Council during his time as National Security Advisor. 9. When PRRD was elected president, Cong Goles' brother, Ferdinand Goles, was appointed as a member of the Board of Directors or the Base Conversion and Development Authority, BCDA. On the other hand, PRRD directed me to serve as a counterintelligence agent for the National Security Council. 10. However, I was never under the employ of the Office of the President or any government agency. Instead, I was directly employed by PRRD. I received my salary from a certain Canlas, a PNP officer, previously from Davao, at the start of every month in the amount of 100,000 pesos to 150,000 pesos in cash. 11. As part of my duties, PRRD specifically instructed me to monitor, operate, and sabotage former Senator Trillanes. However, PRRD was apprehensive in ordering the assassination of Senator Trillanes because of the latter's support and contact in the armed forces of the Philippines. 12. Sometimes in 2018, PRRD asked SARA, BP SARA, to go to his home in Taal Street, Bangkal, Davao City, to discuss upcoming local elections in Davao City, where BP Sara was going to run for re-election as mayor. During this meeting, PRRD introduced me to Sara and told me, "Ram, ikaw na bahala kay Inday." Since then, I've frequently met and discussed with BP Sara, then Mayor Sara, regarding various matters. However, she gave me strict instructions that all conversations should be done as much as possible by call and minimize text messages. 13. Furthermore, PRRD also asked me to profile individuals associated with BP Sara, then again Mayor Sara, because she is his favorite among his children. PRRD wanted Sara, BP Sara, in politics instead of Paulo Duterte Pulong and Sebastian Duterte Baste, who he characterized as baliw and bading, respectively. Number 14, sometimes in 2021, PRRD gave me 25 million to purchase high-end motorcycles for Sara's use while she is in Metro Manila and other ordinary motorcycles for our group operations. 15. Hence, I bought two 2021 model Harley-Davidson motorcycles from a dealership in Green Hills, EDSA for around 2,500,000 pesos, inclusive of accessories, and around 2 million pesos exclusive accessories, respectively. Both Harley-Davidson motorcycles were placed under the name of my son. I also purchased two 2021 model Ducati motorcycles from a dealership in Katipunan, Quezon City for around 3,500,000 pesos and around 2,300,000 pesos respectively. In addition, I also bought accessories for these Ducati motorcycles in the total amount of 500,000 pesos. Both the Ducati motorcycles were placed under my name. 17. Lastly, I also purchased 7 Yamaha NMAX motorcycles for the operation of Initiative for Social Justice Innovation and Progress Pilipinas, or ISIP Pilipinas. The remaining money was distributed to my colleagues in ISIP Pilipinas. 18. All purchases of these motorcycles, including the aforementioned accessories, were paid in cash using the money given to me by PRRD. Custom magnetic lifter transaction with Attorney Manos Carbio. Sometime in 2017 or 2018, PRD told me to assist the husband of Sarah, Attorney Manasseh Manscarpio, regarding a problem with the Bureau of Customs. However, no specific details were provided by PRD. Thereafter, Attorney Mans called me. We later decided to meet in front of a coffee shop in Burgos Circle in Bonifacio Global City, Taguig City. During our conversation, he asked me to assist in facilitating the release of what he called construction equipment, which was plugged and confiscated by the Bureau of Customs. Attorney Mans gave me a contact person, a female lawyer, to coordinate with it regarding the BOC problem. After 2 days, I went to the BOC to meet the female lawyer to discuss the release of construction equipment. This time, I learned that the construction equipment was actually magnetic lifters. The same were confiscated because it contained a large amount of shabu. However, the female lawyer informed me that it was difficult to release the same because it was a hot item. 22. I reported this to Attorney Manson. We meet again in the same spot in BGC, Taguig City. This was the last time we met regarding the issue. Later, I learned that the content of the magnetic lifters is at least 500 kilograms of shabu worth 4.3 billion pesos were mysteriously missing. Dummy accounts and bank transaction of PRD. Despite only earning 100,000 pesos or to 150,000 pesos from my services to PRD, millions of pesos went through bank accounts opened for me by close associates of PRD. I admit that during PRD's term as president, I served as a dummy for the transfer of large amount of money. These transfers were made through bank accounts that were opened under my name, which include but are not limited to the following: China Bank, Legazpi Village, Makati City; China Bank, Main Makati City; China Bank near the power station at Ayala, Makati City; PNB Makati Metropolitan Avenue Branch, Makati City; an unknown bank in Pasig City,